Well, hello there. My name is Brent Smith, and I'm the Common Constitutionalist, and you've probably noticed that this is once again an audio podcast, not a video podcast, and this one's my own fault. I frankly just got busy and ran out of daylight, so I'm having to do the audio podcast. One of these days I'll set myself up a studio, and then I won't have to worry about that kind of crap, but whatever. It ain't going to be this day. So today I've got a couple of topics to discuss. The first one is, oh really, more college censorship? Yes, indeed. And the second one is something that's on everybody's mind, at least as you've been listening to talk radio. Transgendering is child abuse. And it is. That's what I'll be discussing today on the Common Constitutionalist Weekend Audio Podcast. Be right back.
You are listening to the Common Constitutionalist, broadcasting from an undisclosed location, free from the prying eyes of establishment black helicopters.
Okay, I am back. This is from the College Fix, and them and campus reform, man, they are doing yeoman's work on college campuses, bringing the conservative point of view and pointing out well, I was going to say pointing out liberalism, but it was well beyond. They left liberal. You can't even see it in the rearview mirror anymore. It's so far left on college campuses. So censorship is alive and well on college campuses, don't you know? But only censorship of conservatives, of course. So the College Fix writes that conservative students who put up a display voiced frustration over removal. On Monday evening, conservative students at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, yeesh. I say yeesh because all of the universities of North Carolina are, well, just like almost every other college campus, save for a few, bastions of leftism. So they put up a display, conservative students put up a display on their campus that warned of the deadly dangers of socialism. The, quote, socialism graveyard, unquote, included headstones that told of the system's death toll in various countries. And that's basically, if you see a picture of it, it's a bunch of gravestones, and they're pretty well done, some of them, that basically proclaim that socialism kills. There you go. And it does. So remember, this was last Monday evening. By Tuesday morning, their entire exhibit had vanished. It was just gone. Son of a gun. Wonder where it went. Maybe the spirits took it away. Maybe not. Who took down the display remains a mystery. Woo-hoo, mystery. As members of the Young Americans for Freedom Club, the YAF, searched campus dumpsters and questioned peers and campus staff, no one is fessed up to stealing the display, but Emma Schambach, chairwoman of the group, chairwoman, how offensive, of the group, the YAF, said its abrupt disappearance is, quote, definitely not an accident, unquote. Adding insult to injury, the materials for the display cost about $70, and it took almost 4 hours to create it, she said. And this is another quote from Ms. Schambach. Quote, We were having some angry students coming up to us while we were setting up the display. What a stunner. And one of the women in the reservation office that I spoke to said, oh yeah, we had to take it down. What? But then everyone else said that they weren't sure what we were talking about. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. And had us contact the custodian and also the video surveillance people. I'm waiting to hear back from them now. Unquote, from Ms. Schambach. Meanwhile, Schambach took to Facebook to voice her frustration. Frankly, I'm surprised Facebook didn't take it down. But at any rate, quote from Schambach on Facebook, so for people who say universities aren't censoring free speech, here's a little bit of perspective. My club YAF spent our own money and hours to put together a Halloween display bringing attention to the dangers of socialism, don't you know? I added, don't you know? We put the display in the same location as we had previously displayed nearly 3,000 flags for 9/11. We put it up last night, and by 10 a.m. this morning, students or administration had removed the display. We are going to get to the bottom of this and are talking to the school administration to resolve the issue. Right, like it'll be resolved. But just be aware, free speech is under attack, unquote, again. Asked for comment on the situation, campus spokesman... Ah, yes. Campus spokeswoman Buffy Stevens told the... Buffy. Buffy. Campus, she told the College Fix that the university, quote, is committed to cultivating a campus environment which our students, faculty, and staff are empowered to express competing ideas except for conservatism. She forgot to add that. Our vision and values promise a robust intellectual environment that values social and cultural diversity and free expression, unquote. Oh, jeez. Way to be a bumper sticker, lady. Of course, was that rude of me to call her a lady? How the heck do I know she's a lady anymore? Quote, all spaces on campus must be reserved through the conferences, reservations, and event services office, she added. Young Americans for Freedom, here we go, did not reserve the space where their display was placed. However, CRES, I don't know what the crap that is, did not remove the display, and it is unclear who did at this time, unquote. As she should have added, and even if it was clear, we wouldn't tell you conservative jackwads. But Schambach said that they put up a display in that location before, and it was no problem. Quote, according to the student organization office, we don't have to have a permit in the area that we did the display because it's a free speech campus. Ha! You silly girl. Quote, we had the 9/11 memorial there and had no issues, but the socialism display caused problems for some reason, unquote. Yeah, I wonder what that reason could be. Frankly, I'm surprised you didn't have a problem with the 9/11 memorial with all the freaking socialists and communists and radicals on the campus. But I digress. Quote, again, from I think Schambach, we put up the flags and had no issues. Some professors even commended us for the display, unquote, she said. Quote, this set the precedent for us to place our socialism display in the same space without needing a permit. It sounds reasonable and logical to me. Other organizations also had their banners and sign displays in the same areas, and these were left up. Son of a gun. So there you go. Socialism, communism, and a lack of free speech for conservatism, censorship is alive and well at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte and probably 90% of other colleges and universities across our great nation. But I want to end this segment by explaining, yes, socialism kills, but I feel like such a broken record explaining this thing, but I had to explain it to someone the other day, this guy had a notion that socialism and communism weren't effectively the same thing. They are. There's actually no such thing as socialism. As I explained to the gentleman, and as I've explained to many people 1,000 times, socialism is merely a stepping stone from capitalism to communism, and that's the way it always goes. Communist countries like Russia and things like that, they might feign capitalism for a while, but they'll eventually get back to their roots and go back to communism and force the proletariat on all the the people, so the serfs, so to speak. And trying to describe the Denmark or Sweden or Norway or Finland or any of those, or Iceland or any of those other countries as socialist is utter nonsense. These are capitalist countries with some socialist policies, but we have socialist policies here, and we're not quite a socialist nation yet. But you can't have socialism is a misnomer. It's a lie. You can't have socialism. You can't have sustained socialism, because socialism is supposed to be all for the people, all for one for all type of nonsense. But somebody eventually has to emerge as the person or people in charge, and which makes de facto, by default, it makes socialism, it just turns right into communism, because somebody has to be in charge, right? And so that's where the Politburo comes from. So that's all I've got. I'll be right back with another fine Another fine segment about transgenderism. Yay, team. Be right back.
You're listening to The Common Constitutionalist. Let the truth be known.
Okay, welcome back. Yeah, buddy. So this is from Conservative Review, and this is about the little 7-year-old Texas boy whose mother wants to turn him into a girl. Jeez, just incredible. Absolutely incredible. From Conservative Review. The high-profile family court case over whether or not a child will undergo gender transition despite his father's objection has reached a pause for the moment, but that shouldn't be the end of the energy that formed around it. And Conservative Review was kind enough to give us some backstory. This 7-year-old boy from Texas, his mom and dad are divorced. The mom wants this 7-year-old boy, to become a girl at age 7, and the father objected to it. Now, this past Thursday afternoon, news broke that a judge in the James Younger case, that's the kid's name, James Younger, custody case out of Texas, in which a jury had decided in favor of a mother who wanted to subject her 7-year-old son to transgender transition, had granted the father a co-equal say in his son's health care. Thank heavens. A judge with, well, whatever. I'll just leave that one alone, I guess. However, the actual results of the arrangement for the child are yet to be seen, and given the simultaneous gag order that's placed on the father, the mother has a strong starting point to nonetheless force her plans. What a jackass. My gosh, man. But just because the case is paused for now doesn't mean the issue is going away. Of course it's not going away. Leftists never give up. And those who stood up to speak out about it to be foolish to act as if this outcome answered anything definitively about the question of putting minors through transgender treatment. Jeez, just, if this doesn't piss you off, man, you're not human. There's something wrong with you. How many other children will end up subject to this sort of thing with no public pushback because their parents are in the middle of an acrimonious custody battle? How many will end up subject to it against the parents, one of the two parents' wishes? We don't let children smoke. We don't let them drink. We don't let them get tattoos or make other decisions they're too young to make. Yet some members of our society think it's acceptable and even laudable to allow and even encourage minors to go through with procedures that will leave them sterile and scarred for life. So let's be clear about what we're talking about. Christian Post has reported a considerable amount of the gruesome realities of transgender procedures, especially for kids. Here's a sampling. Egad. This should break your heart. I mean, it's just whatever. This is from a parent. Quote, "My once beautiful daughter is now 19 years old, homeless, bearded, in extreme poverty, sterilized, not yet receiving mental health services, extremely mentally ill, and planning a radial forearm phalloplasty." If you don't know what a phalloplasty is, it's freaking gruesome. It's a surgical procedure. Listen to this, what has to be done. And it's not going to make this guy or girl whole again. This is what's being done to this girl. A surgical procedure that removes part of her arm to construct a fake penis, said the mother of a teenage girl who ran away and was taught how to inject testosterone by a pediatric endocrinologist. Just, these people need to be locked up and the key thrown away. A doctor warns that, quote, "When you give puberty blockers to a pubertal-aged child, what you're doing is sideswiping them out of the physiological development that puberty is intended to create and facilitate. You are taking calcium out of the bones of girls, which cannot be introduced later, which of course puts them at risk of severe osteoporosis. On top of that, you're taking the ovaries and testicles, which have not yet started to mature to stage of fertility, and you're cutting them off at the knees, essentially making them sterile," unquote. Gee, this is barbaric, man. Another example is, quote, among the images shown at a UK protest was that of a young woman's surgically scarred chest and midsection after a double mastectomy where the nipples were removed, euphemistically called top surgery. Wow, doesn't that sound special? To appear as male. And a picture of a forearm where surgeons removed layers of skin and tissue down to the patient's muscle and bone to construct a pseudo-penis. The procedure is called radial forearm phalloplasty. Now, does any of this sound like something that should be left for a child to make? The child doesn't have the capacity to make these kind of decisions. And like they said earlier in the article, we're not allowed to let them. There's laws against, drinking for minors, drugs for minors, smoking for minors. You can't get a tattoo, but you can have a phalloplasty procedure. Give me a frickin' break. There are legislative solutions that have been proposed. There is further research that has been asked for on the subject. There should be no frickin' research. It's a waste of damn time. Those things shouldn't end up forgotten and lost in the next news cycle. These efforts should still be pursued with the persistence and determination that comes with fights against grave injustice. The national attention to the younger custody case has heated up on an iron. It's time for conservatives to strike. This woman, this mother, should be tried and should be jailed. They should throw away the key on this woman for doing this to a 7-year-old child, convincing this kid that he's a girl, and then having this poor little guy go through this procedure. I don't even know what is wrong with this woman. And she's apparently a doctor or something like that. She's a freaking whack job, man. She's the one that needs psychological treatment. She's the one that needs a padded cell. She's the one that needs to be locked up, frankly, for good. Because this kid is going to be ruined for life. He doesn't stand a frickin' chance if this woman prevails against her ex-husband. It's just insane. It's gruesome. It's barbaric. I can't even, we used to think that, you look at these things, the Middle Ages of all the torture chambers and whatnot. Man, they got nothing on transgender transitioning. It's such a joke anyway. It's ridiculous. There's two sexes. There's male, there's female. And I don't care. If you were born a male, you're always going to be one. If you're born a female, you're always going to be one. You can pretend all you want. You can cut off. You could add on it. I don't give a rat's ass what you do. That's the way it is, and that's the way God intended. It's a shame. It's a crying shame, and I feel so bad for these children that get stuck in the middle of this crap, all because parents, I don't even know what's wrong with them. I don't know. They've got some serious mental issues. Unbelievable. Psychos is what they are. So my name's Brent Smith. I'm the Common Constitutionalist. Thank you very much for listening. And you could do the subscribe and like thing and all that crap. And hopefully we'll do a video next week. That's all I got. Bye.